They're like sitting with them in a job interview, having them negotiate the pay raise, having them negotiate their hiring tests, extra days off.
No.
Welcome back into another episode of Morning Edition. Julian Sador, Andy Satowski, Jason Harper, Ted Phaeton, all here. And look, normally when we talk about Mexico, we're talking about vacation,
food,
avocados, right?
Margaritas.
Yes, all those things. What's going on right now, though, a lot of unrest after they took out cartel leader El Mencho. There's been unrest. There's been cars that are set on fire, blockades there. Cartel is kind of in a battle with the Mexican military. But what's happened is, as we talk about Mexico being a vacation spot, you think about Cozumel, Cancun, Playa del Carmen. All those areas are now caught up in the middle of this. We've even heard from tourists who said it looked like the city was on fire. Guys, we've all vacationed. I don't know what I would do if I'm just like, I'm going to go to Cozumel or something like that. And you look outside your door and that's what you see.
That's so scary. I can't imagine, especially we have spring break rolling around. And we had May K. Beeler on the show talking about, what you should do. There's travel insurance, but a lot of people aren't buying that. You can check travel advisories. But she said that it's advised to stay on those all-inclusive resorts, which a lot of people are going to anyway. But even they're rationing food, apparently, which makes sense when you have thousands of people staying there and you have these buffets. I've never been in a situation like that. The closest that I can say that I've been to a situation where I thought about this of, okay, do I need to leave quickly? My husband and I were on an anniversary trip out in Spain, and this was October 2023. So what happened in October 2023 on the 7th, there was Hamas attacked Israel. Right. And there were tons of things. We were hearing little bits and pieces around it. And we were in Madrid and there were demonstrations going on. And they were fine. They were all fine and really peaceful. But that was a moment where I said, OK, this is what's going on. Could this potentially be dangerous? How do we get home as quick as possible? And that's a little scary. It's nothing like that. And of course, everything was fine where we were. But these are things that you just don't really plan ahead for. And unfortunately, I think we kind of have to start doing that.
Yeah. I mean, you raise your hand. When's the last time you guys bought travel insurance? I haven't in a long time.
Actually, one time I have. The last time I bought it, it was on my friend's. Shout out to Ricky. We went on his bachelor party in Cancun and we bought travel insurance for that reason. Only reason why my mom was she used to work for Air India, and one of the things if you're traveling out of country, always get the travel insurance because you never know when something may happen where your flight gets canceled and then you're scrambling and you're in another country. And it's not like here where you I can find a hotel in Houston. If you're in Cancun, those resorts are booked up.
And they're so far apart.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going from staying someplace like the Grand Oasis and you're like, oh, now I have to find someplace else last minute. Might be a 3-star, 2-star, and then you're going off the main strip. And then it can get dangerous.
I would also say, too, not just with travel insurance. My wife and I actually went through this. Nothing dangerous like this, but we were supposed to get married in St. Lucia during COVID. We signed the contract. And first of all, Mexico, beautiful country. So I just hope everything gets settled and we can go visit and see more of the beautiful country. But when we were signing our commitment to have our wedding venue there, I'm reading this list of the contract and the agreement to you can't cancel for this, and you put a big down payment on it. And I believe pandemic was one of the items within there. And we're thinking to ourselves, when's that going to happen? So luckily, we were able to get some of our money back, but our initial deposit was gone. We never got that back. And it was just one of those commitments that you make with a destination wedding. So there's that side of things, too, for folks who had the plan of having their wedding at one of these resorts or anything like that. The contracts are pages and pages long, and you want to double check. And if there is a way to get the insurance for that, too, something to consider for something unfortunate like this that might happen.
Right. Go ahead, Harp.
Well, I was just going to say, this morning I was reading an article. Before I was hearing more about this story, this morning TripAdvisor just released the top 10 beaches in the world.
Okay.
Number one is in Cozumel. Number one is Isla Pasión in Cozumel, Mexico. And that's right at the same time that all this is happening, which is crazy. I was going to say about 4 years ago, my wife and I went down to the Dominican Republic. We go through the normal, the normal stuff when you check into a new country, waited in the lines for customs and all that kind of stuff. We finally get our van, and as we're walking to our van, we noticed a number of armed guards at the airport. I thought, this is just how they roll in the DR.
Right.
And as we're driving from the airport to where we're staying, at an inclusive, it's like Hard Rock Resort, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we started noticing that at every major intersection, there were at least 4 to 6 armed officers with serious weaponry. I'm not just talking about little pistols. I mean, they had machine guns, something. It was everywhere. And we just kind of started getting a little like, is this normal? And then when the driver pulled into the front gate of the Hard Rock Hotel, the guy leaned through the van and said, "You don't need to leave the property while you're here. Everything you need is here, and you need to stay at the property."
A friendly way of saying, do not leave the property.
Yeah, and I remember Andy.
Without scaring people.
Well, that's the thing. And we looked at each other, we're like, did we miss something? Did something international happen while we were on the flight? And so, although we felt safe at the resort,
right?
We had talked about maybe taking 4-wheelers, doing a zip line thing off the property, and we changed, and we were like, what would happen? So then you start playing the what ifs. What if we did get out and something happened? And you're stuck in some country that, luckily, you can speak sometimes a language in the DR, but other countries, or even down in Mexico, what would you do?
Oh. It's crazy. And you can't always check on the State Department's website for travel advisories. There are some issues, and I did a whole story on this, which is I don't just sit here and creep on the State Department website for fun.
Hey, to each their own.
Some people like bubble baths or watching murder mysteries.
Yeah,
I just like to listen to travel. Nothing relaxes me more. But I think I looked at countries that were a travel 5 or a level 5 that are do not travel. Basically, if you look at the fine print, it says if you are in trouble, we will not help you from the U.S. government standpoint and that's in places where you would expect Afghanistan or Russia or something like that are in, the deep red of if you choose to go here, you are on your own.
Right.
So it's always advised that you go there. You have to take it all with a grain of salt because
advise that you don't go there.
What?
You said advise that you don't go there.
Oh yeah, advise that you don't go there.
Important distinction right
there. I don't even know if you can go to Afghanistan right now. I don't know. I haven't tried. But just look up all of that and if you feel iffy about it, I feel like I would just lean more into that.
Yeah.
There's going to be times when Mexico is back to the way it was. And I think there's a level.
Well, you said, Annie, it's been at a level 2.
It's been at a level 2, which if you look on this map, fun facts about Annie, anywhere in Europe right now is a level 2 because there's just, you don't know what's going to happen over there. That's where stuff like pickpocketing, little crimes like that amounts to a level 2. So a lot of places in the world are at a level 2, which Mexico is right now. That hasn't been updated since August of 2025 when I was looking this morning. So I think if you just pay attention to the U.S. consulate and all of that, but if you feel iffy about it, there's always next year.
Well, something you said with the whole pickpocketing aspect of it, every time we talk about travel,
real quick.
There you go. Whenever you talk about travel, and I'm assuming Blue's level 1.
Blue is level 1 where there's no advisories.
Australia, baby.
Yeah. The U.S. is blocked out, obviously, because that's where we live. But, Mexico and there's a lot of red up in there. I wish this map were interactive so you could hover over I'll write someone at the U.S. Department.
But to your point though, this is, level 1, level 2, but then you have these other areas like Chihuahua, the Baja, Ted, you're talking Cabo San Lucas right down here.
Right there.
Yeah. That's a level 2.
Level 2
is exercise increased caution. I mean, but to Andy's point, this is most of
anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go. A lot.
You're right.
In Asia, there, Russia, obviously, all blacked out there, or redded out. Lots of places in Africa, Afghanistan, a lot of the Middle East, of course. But if you look at most of Europe, Canada's blue. That makes sense.
Well, my point I was going to kind of piggyback off of when you said, Annie, with pickpocketing in some of these areas that are level 2 is every time you're traveling, whether it is within the country or outside of the country, My passports, I have it in a fanny pack. It's on my person at all times. It's in the front, so you can't necessarily get easy access to it. It's in an interior zipped pocket. You take the proper precautions because, just like you have insurance for your car, insurance for your house, and now we talk about trip insurance, you also want to make sure you're being vigilant and aware when you travel and you go into unfamiliar areas. And between the airport to the resort, you want to make sure you have a sense of direction and you just know your surroundings. It's always just an encouragement to be vigilant whenever you're traveling away from home.
Like when Jason noticed all the people, if you hadn't noticed all the guys on the corner there.
Oh yeah.
But when you get to the resort and they tell you you don't need to leave,
yeah,
it's a little.
Yeah. The only thing I have that's similar to what happened here, 2014, I went on Birthright. And for people that don't know, Birthright is something offered that if you have anybody Jewish in your family, if you're Jewish yourself, you get to go to Israel, and they'll pay for your trip. And so we went, and it was right when the conflict broke out between, where they moved a lot of people to the border with Gaza and Israel. And so as we're over there, we had to hide in a bomb shelter one time. There was missiles that landed, I think it was like 5-6 miles away from us. We heard them coming down. Our bus had to take different routes. We saw protests in the streets. And a lot of people on the trip were considering, because once you're there, it's like, when are you going to be in Israel next, right? So they wanted to extend their trip and then maybe go to Greece or someplace afterwards because they're working on that side of the world. And a lot of them decided, you know what, it's better to come home because the State Department issued an advisory saying, we don't know what's going to happen, so you're better off coming home. I think it's a good rule of thumb. When the State Department, the government says, we can't guarantee your safety, kind of like what Andy's talking about,
come home.
Like,
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Those places will be there. Go back another time. You can find the money, but it's not worth being in a
Your
place.
safety.
I've seen enough Jason Bourne movies to know I don't want to be a Mexican prison. I don't want to be in a I don't want to be in Turkey and stuck in some underground something. You know what I'm saying? And
I've seen Locked Up Abroad.
I'm not doing it. I don't have a particular set of skills like Jason Bourne to be able to defend myself.
You don't have Liam Neeson in your family?
No,
No Liam
I do
Neeson.
not. I've watched enough where I feel like I know what to do.
Right.
Right when the guy's behind. Oh my God, something just popped when I did that. See, this is what would happen in Turkey. I'd be trying to defend myself, doing one of these moves, and I'd be like, "Hang on a second, my shoulder popped out of socket."
Time out.
1 second.
Time out.
Hold on.
Okay, let's get back to it.
Yeah.
But like Angie and I we went to London last May. Now, and for most purposes, I don't know what it is on that interactive map. What is England? Go to the UK. Maybe Stripe.
Level 1.
Okay, yeah.
Level
Like
1,
level 1.
Level 1, level 2.
Okay, yeah. So we go to London, and I was purposely trying to show my wife that we could do this whole trip using like ChatGPT.
Okay.
Right. Cool. So I was doing a lot of that and suggestions on, maybe what pub we should hit on the way to this part of town. So there was a lot of that going on, which meant my nose was in my phone the whole time, especially when it came to navigating.
Yeah.
Like we have to take this alley to get to the tube. So there's a lot of that.
That doesn't make you a target for a pickpocket at all.
Okay. There we go. That's the thing.
Just slap a big target on his forehead.
Every time every time we stepped out of it, she's like, I know you're going to look at your phone. Please don't put it up. And I was also missing out on some really cool stuff because I was staring at my phone. But we have friends that live in London, and they even warned us. They're taking Americans' phones. They will run. Someone will come up and distract you, especially if you got your phone out. They're going to ask you, hey, what time is it, or blah, 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 blah. And the other person, they work in tandem. The other one comes, grabs the phones, and take off. And so Angie's like, stop doing it, stop doing it. I did it the whole time. I couldn't stop myself, and I would forget because I don't know where we're going, And so our friend that lives there, the last night we were there, we're walking to the car, and a guy came by, tried to grab it. Luckily, he had some kind of ring or something, like, on the back of his phone or something. And the guy tried to yank it, tried to grab a bag. Yeah, this was the last night we were there, and that's the guy that lives there. And Angie looked at me, and she's you know how wives are. They don't have to say "I told you so." They can just look at you, and she's like,
"Hold on, it's like
that's it." It was I've been trying to tell you this every single time. But that's the thing, though, is I was not being vigilant, and that was in a fairly safe part of the world. Can you imagine going down to Cozumel when you've been out in the sun, or you've been drinking, or you're thinking, I'm down here relaxing. My guard is down for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
And that's not how I want to spend my vacation. And so even if you have spent the time and booked it and whatever it's going to cost. I wouldn't want to be out thousands of dollars, but I don't want to be there having to look over my shoulder.
That's right.
The whole time, because then you can't even relax.
That's true. All right, Harp, you know that move. I'm not going to ask you to show it again. But speaking of moves, right?
Yeah.
Not talking about where you're going to travel, talking about this guy. He's become an internet sensation, Punk the Monkey.
Oh.
He could use some of those moves. We're going to be talking about him today on Morning Edition, but we're going to squeeze in a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Come on, here we go. Welcome back into Morning Edition, everyone. All right, so this topic came up a couple days ago. Our chief business correspondent, Taylor Young, had a great topic, and it was basically saying Gen Z-ers are taking their parents with them to job interviews.
But how many, Jason?
And we're like, wait,
what's the percentage?
Hold
It's going to
up.
be a lot, right?
There is official data, right? Fortune.com says, you look at it right here. Look at it for yourself, Julian. Don't look at me. Look at ours.
Is that a typo?
Nope. 77% of Gen Zers are taking their parents with them to the job interview. It doesn't stop there. It's not just holding their hand like a stuffed animal, like Punch the Monkey we're going to talk about.
Right.
Coming up. No, they're like sitting with them in a job interview, having them negotiate the pay raise, having them negotiate their hiring tests, extra days off.
No.
I thought I was going to lose it when I heard this.
This is ridiculous.
This is the most cringeworthy thing that
It really
I've heard
is.
in a long time.
I really hope like somebody accidentally hit the 77. Like I hope,
No.
No,
All right, Jason, start with you because you are the parent of children who are at the age where they are employed.
Right.
Would you ever go with any of your girls? If they were like that.
No.
The dad I love so much, my smart. Would you come with me to my interview? What would you say?
No, honey. Nope. I love you, but
Good luck.
no, you're on your own. Matter of fact, all 4 girls around the age of 15, 3/4 of our girls have worked in restaurants or at Chick-fil-A. They all went in when they were 15. I think you can be 14, which is crazy to me.
Wow.
But yeah, you can be 14. Small, minimal jobs at Chick-fil-A. But let's say 15. No. You go in, we're going to show you how to put together a resume. There should be some kind of, role play. Like if you're nervous I don't know what to say. All right, well, let's talk about it. Like what do you want to ask? What is it you're wanting? Like you have to learn these skills. And if you go and you're not ready and you fail, that's part of the learning process.
Right.
And some people may hear this and be like, oh, that's traumatic. And they're going to come home and be scared and PTSD. It's part of growing up. They have to learn how to deal with this. And if they continue on the path of not being able to make it to a job interview, there's some disconnect. Like you got to pull back and go, okay, we got to revisit this. But if you keep helping them, holding their hand, when they get to college, how are they going to do job interviews? How are they going to go talk to a professor when they have issues? How are they going to talk to a landlord when they got something going on? You just keep going up in life as an adult. They have to do this on their own.
I want to find that button.
Yeah. I think that the parent might think like, oh, I'm helping in this situation. If I'm the person doing the hiring, that immediately is a red flag to me.
Not hiring.
So I think
Not hiring
100%.
I'm not hiring someone that needs to bring their mom or dad to a job interview. And that it's also like, oh, by the way, Timmy is really good at cleaning up his room. All these things. He takes real initiative on that, and that's good. Immediately for me, if I'm hiring someone, it's going to be a no. So I think if parents are like, oh, this is helping my child, you're hurting them. So, and all the ways that Jason mentioned, but also you're actually hurting their prospects of getting the job, in my opinion.
I mean, the only thing that I see on here that I'm willing to concede is a good idea. If you're going for your first entry-level job and you want to ask for dad or mom, look over my resume. Take a look at my cover letter, right?
It's like Jason said.
That's fine, but everything else, no, absolutely not.
I think in the prep, right? And I think use mom and dad all that you want for that, especially for your first job.
But these kids, these are the same ones. It's like they're gonna go run and tell mom and dad. Gonna go tell mom and dad can't help you always.
And the end of that title, it says, am I reading that right? Take their hiring tests?
Yep.
All right, so pause.
No.
Pause, Teddy, because I want you to comment on this. All right, so this study goes deeper. Here we go.
Oh man,
most have had parents apply for their jobs for them. 63%.
No.
54% email the hiring managers. These are the parents doing the work. 53% actually call them directly. Nearly half the parents complete the test assignments.
Here we go.
41% let a parent handle the first HR call, And 8 in 10 Gen Z-ers say their parents communicate with their managers.
No.
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 Oh my God.
1,000%
On the phone?
No.
So
This makes me sad.
it's hard on both sides because the Gen Z, sure, they could ask their parents, but the parents, you can say no.
You can say no.
So the fact
You
is,
should say no.
Should. I
That
cannot
part.
imagine. Any of our parents would never have done this for us.
No way.
Like,
Mr. and Mrs. Phaeton would never. They would never.
The dishonor I will bring to my family. If I can ask the question, the dishonor, no.
jail.
Straight to jail.
But parents say this is a hard-working environment. There's a little tongue-in-cheek here. Parents are saying it's a hard-working environment. There is professional anxiety that the previous generations didn't have to deal with.
Nah.
That's what they're saying.
Nah.
That's the defense.
I feel like, Jason, you would react the same way, right? If one of your daughters asked you, it would be a look up to the heavens like, God, what have I done to not prepare the child?
That's exactly right.
Like, where have I failed as a parent?
No, I would. There is an honest kind of reflection back on parents, even if it is your child's responsibility at whatever the age is. But you can't help because they're part of you. Can't help but look back and go,
what did I do?
Where did I mess up?
I think we're all saying the same thing. And the delineation here is not being hands off. You can be very hands on. I will role play with you. I will go through. I will drill questions, interview questions with you. I'll review your resume with you. But when it comes time to apply, go through the interview, fly.
Go on, Bernie. Go on, Bernie. You were, before we started recording, Ted, you were talking about how when you learn to ride a bike, at some point you got to let go of the back, the back seat. They're going to wobble. They might even crash and skin their knee.
Right.
Yep.
Alan, pick you up.
Yeah.
Alan, put you back on the bike.
Here's the thing. Again, I would love to talk about, but we got to get toward a break and then our final topic because some parents will just say, you know what? I'm going to leave you on your own like Punch's mom did. Say, what? You're on your own. We're talking about Punch right after the break. All right, welcome back. We're talking about Punch the monkey. He has taken the internet by storm. His mom abandoned him, and the group of macaw monkeys that he was with, they haven't really let him in.
Also rude.
Punch now has this adorable plush with him. It's an orange orangutan. He carries it everywhere. Guys, I feel like I want to root for Punch.
I always am rooting for Punch. I want to give him a big hug.
Yeah.
Is that a support therapy
It
animal?
is. It's like his mom or his friend. Like, he drags him everywhere.
Why were they bullying him? Just because he doesn't belong to their...
Yeah, I think he's new.
Their
So
unit?
it's like you know, like even when you take your cat or dog to the vet and they get the vet smell on them, then you bring them back and I don't know if that happens with dogs. It happens with cats. They have the scent on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't want to I can't trust you. So he's new to the crew, but he's he loves all the workers.
Now, so some of the monkeys have started to embrace him, but Julian thinks that they're a bunch of fakers.
Brand new, active, because they weren't embracing him before he became an internet sensation. Now they're seeing the love. People are now going to that zoo in Japan just to see Punch. They're like, wait a minute, y'all care about Punch? What about me? So now they're trying to act. We remember.
We remember.
We
what you did to
remember.
Punch.
You're not fooling nobody.
Whenever I see this in the plush toy, it reminds me it's a popular behavioral psychology study where they have the wire parent monkey and the soft parent monkey. The wire one provides the milk. The other one is the soft one, and the baby monkey prefers the plush toy. So look at Punch just leaning in.
Thank God for that scientific research that you just threw in there.
Into the Punch
That
story.
really made me love him even more. I do appreciate that, Ted. I do. I think we're out of time.
Ted's our Punch.
Oh! Uh-oh, he's grabbing his bag. Oh, we love you, Ted.
Love you, Ted.
We love you, Ted.
We won't
Love
bully
y'all too.
That's it for another episode of Morning Edition.
Oh,
We'll
dear.
catch you guys next time.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.